All right, so AI in Switzerland, specifically the tech industry. It's a hot topic. Everyone's talking about it, but what's really going on?
Well, this report from ETH Zurich just came out in June, so it's really fresh, and it gives us some fascinating insights.
Yeah, and it kind of challenges some of those assumptions, right? You'd think Swiss tech, they'd be all over this AI thing.
You'd think so, wouldn't you?
But the report found only 28% of companies actually have a formal AI strategy in place.
That's lower than you might expect.
Yay lower.
And that's where it gets interesting because Swiss companies, they're known for being pragmatic.
Yeah.
They're not going to just jump on something because it's trendy.
Right, so are they kind of taking a wait and see approach?
I think it's more of a show me the money approach, right? They want to see the benefits, the tangible benefits, before they're really going to dive in. And to be fair, AI implementation, especially when we're talking about manufacturing, can be really complex. It can be expensive.
Yeah, which might explain why the report also found that only 2% of companies have actually fully implemented AI at scale in their manufacturing.
That's right. But here's where that Swiss pragmatism might actually be a strategic advantage.
Go on.
Think about it. By taking this sort of more measured approach, they can learn from those companies who are early adopters, maybe avoid some of those costly mistakes, and then potentially even leapfrog the competition.
So they're not behind the curve, they're playing a different game.
Precisely. And the report backs that up. It found that while full-scale implementation is low right now, a lot of companies, they're planning to pilot or implement AI in the next 3 years. So they are coming.
They're getting ready to make their move.
They're watching, they're learning, and they're getting ready to strike.
So they're being strategic. But where are they focusing these initial AI efforts? Because the report found it's not necessarily where you'd think.
Right. It's not all about like robots on the factory floor.
Yeah.
You might picture AI, transforming manufacturing first and foremost.
Yeah, that's what I would think.
But the reality in Switzerland, it seems like areas like engineering, R&D, even sales and marketing, customer service, these are seeing faster AI adoption.
Really? Why is that?
Well, it seems like Swiss companies are really prioritizing those areas where AI can bring those quick wins, in terms of efficiency, customer experience. These are areas, too, where data is often more readily available.
So they're going for that low-hanging fruit first, where it's easier to get those initial AI projects actually up and running?
Exactly. And it's not just about it being easier. The report highlights, for example, how some companies are using AI already in their sales departments.
Yeah.
They're using it to provide like highly technical product consultations, things that traditionally would have required like an actual engineer.
That's a great example. So it frees up the engineer's time, but it also, at the same time, it improves that customer experience.
Exactly. And it really illustrates this key insight that for Swiss companies, they're laser focused on that ROI from AI. They're not chasing these shiny objects. They're looking for practical applications. They want to see those tangible results.
Which brings us to the specific AI technologies that these companies are most excited about. And it seems like large language models, these LLMs, they're kind of stealing the show.
Absolutely. LLMs, they've got the potential to really revolutionize knowledge management, which, as the report highlights, is a real challenge for a lot of companies.
Which makes sense. These companies, they thrive on this technical expertise.
Exactly. Imagine being able to instantly access the collective knowledge of like your entire company, all of that experience. That's the power of LLMs.
It's like having this digital brain trust at your fingertips.
Yeah. And the report found that companies are particularly interested in using these LLMs to improve those internal processes. Things like finding information more easily, maybe streamlining that decision-making.
Okay, so it's about working smarter, not harder.
Precisely. And that's really where the real value of AI lies, especially for a country like Switzerland, that's so known for its innovation and that efficiency.
So we've got this picture of Swiss companies. They're excited about AI, especially these LLMs, but there's this bottleneck.
There is. And it's a big one.
The skills gap.
Exactly. The report, it actually calls this the single biggest roadblock to AI adoption in Switzerland. Two-thirds, can you believe this? Two-thirds of companies say they just don't have the people, the in-house talent to make their AI ambitions a reality.
Wow, 2/3. Okay, so what does that actually look like on the ground? What are we talking about here?
Well, it's not as simple as just needing more data scientists, although that's definitely part of it. We're talking about this need for people who can bridge the gap between, the tech side, the AI itself, and those very specific business problems that need solving.
So it's not enough to just be a tech whiz. You need people who really understand how to apply AI in a way that's actually going to make a difference to the business.
Exactly. And this is where that Swiss approach, that careful, considered adoption, it could actually be a double-edged sword. Because if companies are hesitant to really invest in AI until they see that ROI.
They might not be willing to invest in the training, the talent acquisition that they need to actually build up that in-house expertise.
Right, it's that classic chicken and egg.
So what can be done? The report must have some recommendations.
It does. And it really emphasizes that this isn't a problem with one simple answer.
Right, it's going to take a multi-pronged approach. So let's break it down. What are we talking about here?
Well, one of the biggest things is closer collaboration, and this has to be between industry and the education system. So universities, they need to be making sure that graduates have the skills that companies are actually looking for.
So no more ivory tower for computer science departments. They've got to be plugged into the real world, talking to these companies, figuring out what they need.
Exactly. But it's not just on the universities. Companies, they need to be proactive too. They've got to invest in their current employees, give them opportunities to learn about AI and how it applies to what they're doing.
It's about creating this culture of constant learning where AI literacy becomes a part of the company's DNA.
That's it. And again, it's not just about the hardcore technical training. It's about everyone in the organization, from the top down, having this basic understanding of what AI is, what it can do, and how to use it responsibly, ethically.
So it sounds like Switzerland, they're at this really interesting point. They've got this chance to decide how they're going to be a part of this future where AI is only becoming more important.
And that brings us back to you listening right now, because this isn't just a Swiss story. This is playing out everywhere. Whether you're a student thinking about your future career or an entrepreneur, just someone who's curious, you've got a role to play in shaping what AI becomes.
It's an exciting time. It's a challenging time. Things are moving fast. And I think, as this report makes clear, the time to get involved is now. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. We'll see you next time.